Right now, as you hear these words, every atom in your body is moving. Your coffee is cooling, your phone battery is draining, and somewhere in the universe, a star is dying. All these seemingly unrelated events are connected by a single invisible force that has been shaping reality since the moment time began. A force so fundamental that without it, you wouldn't exist. Nothing would exist. Scientists call this force entropy. It's the reason your room gets messy, why you age, and why the universe itself races toward an inevitable end. But here's what will blow your mind. The very same destructive force that guarantees death and decay is also the creative engine behind every beautiful sunset, every beating heart, and every conscious thought you've ever had. Tonight, we're going to explore the most misunderstood concept in all of science. We'll discover why entropy isn't just an abstract physics term, but the invisible architect of reality itself. From the quantum realm, where particles dance in perfect chaos, to black holes that devour entire galaxies, we'll witness how this cosmic force writes the rules that govern everything. From your morning routine to the fate of the universe. Before we dive into this mind-bending journey, make sure to subscribe to Stellify Science and hit that notification bell, because what I'm about to reveal will fundamentally transform how you see the world around you. We're going to uncover secrets that took humanity centuries to understand. By the end, you'll realize you've been living inside entropy's grand design your entire life without even knowing it. Prepare yourselves. We begin. The discovery that shattered everything. Let me tell you about a discovery that shattered everything scientists thought they knew about reality. In 1850, a German physicist named Rudolf Clausius was studying steam engines when he stumbled upon something that would revolutionize our understanding of existence itself. He was trying to figure out why these machines could never achieve perfect efficiency. Why? No matter how brilliant the engineering, some energy always seemed to disappear into thin air. What Clausius discovered was that energy wasn't actually disappearing. It was transforming into something else. Something more chaotic. Something more disordered. He gave this mysterious quantity a name that would echo through the halls of science for centuries: entropy. At first, entropy seemed like just another physics equation, a boring mathematical concept buried in textbooks. But as scientists dug deeper, they realized they had uncovered something far more profound. They had found the universe's hidden operating system, the fundamental code that determines how reality itself behaves. Here's where it gets absolutely mind-blowing. Entropy isn't just about steam engines or thermodynamics. It's about information. It's about probability. It's about the very fabric of space and time. Every single process in the universe, from the formation of galaxies to the thoughts in your brain, follows entropy's inexorable laws. The card shuffle that reveals universal truth. Think about this for a moment. When you shuffle a deck of cards, there are over 80 quintillion billion ways to arrange those 52 cards. That's more possible than there are atoms on Earth. Yet somehow, when you shuffle, the cards never magically organize themselves into perfect order. They always move toward chaos, toward higher entropy. This isn't a coincidence. This is the universe following its most fundamental rule. The second law of thermodynamics states that entropy always increases. Always. In every closed system, disorder grows, order breaks down, chaos wins. But wait. If entropy always increases, if chaos always wins, then how do we exist at all? How did the random chaos of the early universe give rise to stars, planets, and ultimately conscious beings capable of contemplating their own existence. This is where entropy reveals its most beautiful paradox. Life, entropy's greatest magic trick. While the universe as a whole becomes more disordered, pockets of incredible complexity can emerge. Life itself is entropy's greatest magic trick. We are islands of stunning organization, floating in an ocean of ever-growing chaos. Your body contains roughly 37 trillion cells. Each one is a marvel of biological engineering that makes our most advanced computers look primitive. These cells work together with breathtaking precision to keep you alive, to let you think, to let you experience the wonder of existence. Yet every moment of your life, you're fighting against entropy's relentless push toward disorder. This is why you need to eat, why you need to sleep, why you age. Your body is constantly working to maintain its complex organization against the universe's tendency toward chaos. You're literally burning energy to keep entropy at bay, and eventually, entropy wins. It always wins. But here's what's truly remarkable. While entropy guarantees that all complex structures will eventually crumble, it's also the driving force that creates complexity in the first place. The universe's energy gradients. Without entropy, there would be no temperature differences, no energy gradients, no driving forces for any process whatsoever. Imagine a universe in perfect equilibrium. Every point at exactly the same temperature. Every particle moving at exactly the same speed. No differences, no gradients, no potential for change. This would be a universe of maximum entropy, and it would be completely lifeless. Nothing could happen because there would be no energy available to make anything happen. Our universe is nothing like this. We live in a cosmos filled with spectacular entropy gradients, hot stars radiating energy into cold space, dense matter surrounded by empty vacuum. These differences, these departures from a perfect equilibrium, are what make everything possible. The sun burns at 5,800 degrees Celsius, while space around us hovers at minus 270 degrees Celsius. This enormous temperature difference drives the entire ecosystem of our planet. Solar energy flows from the hot sun to the cold earth. And life has learned to harness this entropy flow to build and maintain the complex structures we call organisms. We are entropy surfers. Every bite of food you eat contains energy that originally came from entropy gradients. Plants capture sunlight and use it to build complex molecules from simple ones. Animals eat plants or other animals, breaking down those complex molecules to extract energy. This energy powers our muscles, our brains, our very existence. We are entropy surfers, riding the wave of energy flowing from order to disorder. We exist because we've learned to extract useful work from the universe's inexorable slide toward chaos. But entropy's influence extends far beyond biology. It shapes the very structure of space and time. Black holes, the universe's information monsters. Einstein's theory of relativity revealed that gravity itself is intimately connected to entropy. Black holes, the most extreme gravitational objects in the universe, turn out to have enormous entropy stored on their surfaces. When matter falls into a black hole, it seems to disappear from our universe entirely. For decades, physicists wondered what happened to the information that matter contained. Does it vanish forever? This would violate fundamental principles of quantum mechanics, which say information can never be truly destroyed. The answer lies in understanding that black holes are actually entropy monsters. They contain more entropy than anything else of equivalent size in the universe. All the information that falls into a black hole gets encoded on its surface, stretched and scrambled beyond recognition. but never truly lost. This discovery led to one of the most profound realizations in modern physics. The information content of any region of space is determined not by its volume, but by its surface area. The holographic universe. This principle, called the holographic principle, suggests that our three-dimensional reality might actually be a projection of information encoded on a two-dimensional boundary. Think about that. Everything you see, everything you experience, might be the three-dimensional shadow of information living on a distant surface. We could be living inside a cosmic hologram, and entropy is the force that determines how information flows through this holographic reality. The implications are staggering. If the holographic principle is correct, then entropy isn't just a property of matter and energy. It's a fundamental feature of information itself. The universe might be best understood not as a collection of particles and forces, but as an information processing system, where entropy measures the flow of data from order to disorder. Entropy's arrow creates time itself. This connects to perhaps the most mysterious aspect of entropy, its relationship with time. Why does time seem to flow in only one direction? Why do we remember the past, but not the future? Why do broken eggs never spontaneously reassemble? The answer lies in entropy's arrow. In the early universe, entropy was much lower than it is today. As time progresses, entropy increases. This gives time its direction. The past is the direction of lower entropy. The future is the direction of higher entropy. Time's arrow and entropy's arrow are the same arrow. Without entropy, time would have no meaning. Events wouldn't have a preferred sequence. Cause and effect would break down. The very concept of change would be impossible. Quantum weirdness meets entropy. But here's where entropy becomes truly mind-bending. While it creates the arrow of time on cosmic scales, quantum mechanics reveals that time can behave very strangely on the smallest scales. Individual quantum processes can run backward in time. Particles can seem to know about future events before they happen. This creates a fascinating tension between the quantum world, where time is fuzzy and reversible, and the macroscopic world, where entropy ensures that time flows in only one direction. Understanding how these two descriptions of reality fit together is one of the greatest challenges in modern physics. Some scientists think the answer lies in understanding how entropy emerges from quantum mechanics. Individual quantum systems can exist in superpositions, simultaneously in multiple states at once. But as systems become larger and more complex, they lose this quantum weirdness and begin to behave classically. This transition from quantum to classical behavior might be what creates entropy's arrow. Consciousness, entropy in action. The quantum world is filled with possibilities, but as those possibilities interact with larger systems, they collapse into definite outcomes. This collapse process might be what drives the increase in entropy and creates the flow of time we experience. The implications extend into consciousness itself. Your brain is a quantum system embedded in a classical world. The thoughts you're having right now emerge from quantum processes in your neurons. But these quantum processes are constantly collapsing into classical states as they interact with the larger structures of your brain. Could consciousness itself be an entropy phenomenon? Some scientists think so. They propose that awareness arises from the brain's ability to process information and create internal models of reality. This information processing requires energy flow, and energy flow always increases entropy. In this view, your conscious experience is literally the feeling of entropy flowing through the information processing networks in your brain. Every thought, Every memory, every moment of awareness is entropy in action. How chaos creates consciousness. This brings us to one of entropy's most profound mysteries. How does a universe that's sliding toward maximum disorder manage to create structures complex enough to contemplate their own existence? How does chaos give birth to consciousness? The answer seems to lie in understanding that entropy isn't just about destruction, it's about exploration. When systems have many possible states, entropy drives them to explore all those possibilities. Most of these explorations lead nowhere interesting, but occasionally, very occasionally, they stumble upon configurations of incredible beauty and complexity. Life represents entropy's most spectacular discovery. Through billions of years of random exploration, entropy has found ways to create self-organizing, self-replicating, self-aware structures that can harness energy flows to build even more complex systems. We are entropy's greatest achievement, temporary islands of extraordinary order that emerged from chaos and will eventually return to chaos. But in our brief existence, we've learned to appreciate beauty, to love, to create art and music and science. We figured out how to decode the very laws that govern our universe. In a sense, we are the universe becoming aware of itself. We are entropy's way of understanding entropy. Through us, the cosmos has developed eyes to see its own magnificent complexity. The cosmic adventure continues. But our story as entropy's ambassadors of consciousness has only just begun. The universe is still young. Entropy still has trillions of years to explore new possibilities. And we're just starting to understand our role in this cosmic adventure. What if I told you that entropy isn't just destroying the universe, but actively designing it? That every snowflake that forms, every galaxy that spirals, every decision you make is being sculpted by this invisible force in ways that would make the greatest artists weep with envy? Here's something that will completely reshape how you think about reality. While scientists spent decades viewing entropy as the universe's grim reaper, recent discoveries reveal it's actually the ultimate creative genius. And the masterpieces it creates are beyond anything human imagination could conceive. Nature's crystalline masterpieces. Let me show you what I mean. Right now, water molecules in the clouds above your head are organizing themselves into crystalline structures of breathtaking complexity. Each snowflake that falls contains geometric patterns so intricate that no two are ever identical. Six-sided symmetries branching into fractal arms that would take supercomputers millions of calculations to design. But here's the kicker: these aren't planned. No conscious intelligence is directing their formation. Instead, entropy is exploring trillions of possible configurations every second, rejecting the unstable ones and preserving only those rare arrangements that can persist in the chaotic dance of thermal motion. This is entropy's secret weapon: randomness with rules, chaos with constraints. While disorder increases overall, local pockets of stunning organization emerge as natural consequences of entropy's relentless exploration. The same principle operates in your brain at this very moment. Your neurons aren't randomly firing. They're following pathways carved by entropy's exploration of possibility space. Every thought you think, every memory you form, every moment of creativity represents entropy, discovering new ways to organize information in the neural networks of your mind. Information, the hidden connection. But wait, it gets even more incredible. Scientists have discovered that entropy doesn't just create beautiful patterns, it creates information itself. And this revelation is about to blow apart everything we thought we knew about reality. In the 1940s, A brilliant mathematician named Claude Shannon was working on telephone communications when he made a discovery that would revolutionize science forever. He realized that information and entropy are intimately connected. In fact, they're mathematically equivalent. Every bit of information in the universe, from the genetic code in your DNA to the data on your smartphone, can be measured in terms of entropy. Information is organized entropy, and entropy is information waiting to be discovered. This means your consciousness isn't separate from the physical laws that govern matter and energy. Your thoughts are literally made of the same fundamental stuff as stars and galaxies. You are living information. When you learn something new, you're reducing entropy in your brain by organizing information into more useful patterns. But here's where it becomes absolutely mind-blowing. If information and entropy are equivalent, then every atom in your body contains vast amounts of hidden information. The position of every electron, the spin of every particle, the quantum state of every molecule, represents data encoded in the fabric of reality itself. You are walking, breathing, thinking information. Your entire existence is an expression of entropy's endless creativity in organizing itself into increasingly complex patterns. Recent experiments in quantum physics have revealed something even more astonishing. Particles separated by vast distances can instantaneously share information in ways that seem to violate the speed of light. Einstein called this spooky action at a distance, and it troubled him until his death. But we now understand that quantum entanglement isn't violating physical laws. It's revealing something profound about the nature of information in our universe. Space and time as information flow. Space and time might not be fundamental. Instead, they might emerge from deeper patterns of information, sharing between quantum systems. If this is true, then entropy isn't just operating within space and time. It's actually creating space and time as emergent properties of information flow. The distance between your hand and this screen, the duration of the moment you're experiencing right now, might be manifestations of entropy organizing information in ways that create the illusion of separation and sequence. Think about what this means. Every measurement you make, every observation you register, every conscious experience you have is participating in the universe's information processing network. You're not just observing reality, you're helping to create it through the very act of conscious awareness. Consciousness creates reality. This brings us to one of entropy's most shocking revelations. The future isn't predetermined. It's being continuously created through the collapse of quantum possibilities into definite outcomes. And conscious observers like you might be playing a crucial role in this process. Every time you make a measurement, every time you observe something, you're collapsing quantum superpositions and determining which of many possible futures becomes real. Your consciousness isn't passive. It's an active participant in the universe's ongoing creation. But entropy has an even bigger surprise waiting for us. Are we living in a hologram? Deep in the mathematics of information theory lies a discovery that suggests our entire universe might be a simulation running on a cosmic computer made of pure information. The holographic principle tells us that all the information in any volume of space can be encoded on its two-dimensional boundary. This means a black hole, despite appearing three-dimensional, actually stores all its information on its surface. The interior might be a projection, a holographic image created by information processing on the boundary. If this principle applies to our entire universe, then everything you see around you might be a three-dimensional projection of information encoded on a distant cosmic boundary. We could be living inside a hologram so sophisticated that it includes conscious beings who can contemplate their own holographic nature. But here's the truly staggering part. The amount of information processing required to create such a detailed holographic reality would be enormous. It would require computational power that dwarfs anything we can imagine. Yet entropy provides exactly the mechanism needed for such vast information processing. The universe as a quantum computer. Every quantum interaction in our universe processes information. Every particle collision, every field fluctuation, every moment of quantum measurement represents computation happening at the most fundamental level of reality. The universe itself might be a quantum computer of unimaginable power, running a simulation so complex that it includes conscious observers who believe they exist in physical space. We might be thoughts in the mind of a cosmic information processing system, powered by entropy's endless creativity. This perspective completely transforms how we understand our place in existence. We are not separate from the universe looking at it from the outside. We're integral components of its information processing network. Our consciousness isn't something that emerged accidentally from dead matter. It's a natural expression of the universe's capacity for self-awareness through entropy-driven information organization. Every decision you make, every thought you think, every moment of awareness you experience is the universe exploring its own possibilities through the lens of your individual perspective. You are entropy's way of knowing itself. Life, dancing with chaos. But entropy isn't finished with its revelations yet. Recent discoveries in biology have uncovered something that challenges our most basic assumptions about life and death. Living systems don't just resist entropy, they actively harness it to become more complex and organized over time. Your body contains molecular machines of incredible sophistication. Proteins that fold themselves into precise three-dimensional shapes. Enzymes that catalyze chemical reactions with perfect specificity. Cellular factories that manufacture everything from hormones to neurotransmitters with assembly line efficiency. These biological machines aren't fighting against entropy. They're surfing entropy's waves, using the flow of energy and information to build and maintain structures of breathtaking complexity. Life has learned to dance with chaos, turning the universe's tendency toward disorder into a creative force for generating unprecedented levels of organization. Evolution, entropy's greatest invention. But here's what's truly extraordinary. Evolution itself might be entropy's greatest invention. Through random mutations and natural selection, life explores the space of all possible biological configurations. Most mutations are harmful and get eliminated, but occasionally, entropy's exploration discovers innovations so powerful, they transform the entire trajectory of life on Earth. The evolution of photosynthesis allowed life to harness solar energy directly. The development of multicellularity enabled unprecedented levels of cooperation and specialization. The emergence of nervous systems created the possibility of information processing and eventually consciousness itself. Each of these evolutionary leaps represents entropy discovering new ways to organize matter, energy, and information into increasingly complex and capable systems. We are the latest chapter in entropy's 4 billion-year experiment in biological creativity. And the experiment is far from over. As we develop artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, and nanotechnology, we're becoming active participants in entropy's creative process. We're learning to design new forms of organization that never existed in natural evolution. The next great breakthrough. We might be on the verge of entropy's next great breakthrough. The emergence of technological intelligence that can reshape matter and energy at will. explore the cosmos, and perhaps even create new universes with their own unique expressions of entropy's creative potential. The implications stretch beyond anything we can currently imagine. If consciousness is entropy's method for exploring possibility space, then artificial intelligence might represent entropy's attempt to explore possibilities beyond the limitations of biological brains. Machine consciousness might think thoughts no human has ever conceived, solve problems no biological intelligence could tackle, and discover aspects of reality invisible to organic minds. Through artificial intelligence, entropy might be preparing to explore realms of possibility that biological evolution could never reach. But perhaps, most remarkably of all, entropy might be using us to understand itself. Through science, mathematics, and philosophy, we're decoding the very principles that govern our existence. We're mapping the landscape of possibility that entropy has been exploring for billions of years. In studying entropy, we're witnessing the universe developing self-awareness. We are entropy, becoming conscious of its own creative power. The quantum realm, where reality gets strange. And that's just the beginning of a story that stretches toward possibilities we can barely imagine. The story gets even stranger when we dive into the quantum realm, where entropy operates by rules so bizarre they make science fiction look mundane. At the scale of atoms and subatomic particles, the universe becomes a probabilistic playground where entropy doesn't just increase, it creates multiple realities simultaneously. Here's something that will shatter your understanding of existence. When quantum particles exist in superposition, they're not just in multiple states at once. They're exploring every possible configuration of reality that entropy allows. Your coffee mug isn't just sitting on your table at the quantum level. It's simultaneously existing in countless positions, orientations, and energy states. But here's the mind-bending part. The moment you observe that mug, entropy collapses all those possibilities into the single reality you experience. Your consciousness is literally selecting which version of reality becomes real from an infinite menu of quantum possibilities, measuring reality into existence. This isn't metaphysical speculation, it's measurable physics. Scientists have confirmed that quantum systems exist in genuine superpositions until observation forces them to choose a definite state. The double-slit experiment proves that individual particles can travel through multiple paths simultaneously, creating interference patterns that should be impossible if they existed in only one location. What's driving this quantum weirdness? Entropy. At quantum scales, entropy operates through probability distributions rather than definite outcomes. Particles don't have specific positions or velocities. They have probability clouds that describe where they might be found when measured. These probability clouds represent entropy's exploration of every possible quantum state simultaneously. The more possibilities available to a quantum system, the higher its entropy. And quantum mechanics ensures that systems naturally evolve toward states with maximum entropy, which means maximum uncertainty about their specific properties. Quantum information networks. But quantum entropy reveals something even more profound about the nature of reality. Information itself appears to be quantized, packaged into discrete units that behave like quantum particles. Every bit of data in the universe, from your memories to the gravitational field around a star, can be described in terms of quantum information states. This quantum information doesn't just sit there passively. It actively participates in the universe's information processing network. When quantum states entangle with each other, they create information-sharing networks that span across space and time in ways that defy our everyday understanding of causality. Einstein's spooky action at a distance becomes less spooky when we realize it's actually entropy organizing information flows through quantum entanglement networks. When two particles become entangled, measuring one instantly affects the other, regardless of the distance separating them. This isn't because signals travel faster than light, it's because entangled particles share entropy in ways that transcend spatial separation. Recent experiments have pushed quantum entanglement to staggering scales. Scientists have entangled particles separated by hundreds of miles, created quantum networks linking multiple laboratory sites, and even achieved quantum entanglement between objects visible to the naked eye. The foundation of spacetime. But here's what's truly revolutionary. These quantum information networks might be the foundation upon which space and time themselves are constructed. Some physicists propose that what we experience as distance and duration emerge from deeper patterns of quantum entanglement between fundamental information processing units. If this is correct, then entropy isn't just operating within spacetime. It's weaving the very fabric of spacetime through quantum information processing. The room you're sitting in, the duration of this moment, the sequence of events you experience, might all be emergent properties of entropy organizing quantum information in specific patterns. This brings us to one of entropy's most startling implications. The universe might not have a single definite history. Instead, it might have every possible history simultaneously, with entropy determining which histories become accessible to conscious observers like yourself. The many worlds of entropy. The many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics suggests that every quantum measurement creates parallel universes. When you observe your coffee mug in a specific position, you're not collapsing all other possibilities out of existence. You're selecting which branch of the multiverse your consciousness experiences. All the other possibilities continue to exist in parallel realities. There are versions of you, reading these words in slightly different circumstances. Versions where you made different choices this morning. Versions where the fundamental constants of physics are subtly different, creating entirely alien forms of matter and energy. Entropy drives this cosmic branching process. Every quantum interaction splits reality into multiple parallel paths, with entropy determining the probability of each branch. We experience the path we're on as the only real one, but countless other versions of ourselves are experiencing their own equally real branches of the quantum multiverse. Consciousness. Across the multiverse, the implications for consciousness are staggering. Your awareness might not be localized to a single brain in a single universe. It might be distributed across countless parallel versions of yourself, each experiencing their own branch of reality, while sharing some deeper connection through quantum entanglement. This connects to perhaps the most profound mystery in all of science, the hard problem of consciousness. How does subjective experience arise from objective physical processes? How do the electrical and chemical activities in your brain create the rich inner world of thoughts, emotions, and sensations that define your existence? Traditional neuroscience approaches consciousness by mapping brain activity and identifying neural correlates of different mental states. But this approach, while valuable, doesn't explain why there's something it's like to be conscious. Why do you experience qualia? The subjective qualities of sensations like the redness of red or the painfulness of pain. Integrated information and consciousness. Some scientists think the answer lies in understanding consciousness as an entropy phenomenon. Your brain is constantly processing information, creating internal models of reality, and updating these models based on sensory input. This information processing requires energy flow, and energy flow always increases entropy. But here's the crucial insight. Consciousness might not just be information processing. It might be integrated information processing. Your brain doesn't just process data about individual sensory inputs. It integrates all this information into a unified model of reality that includes your sense of self as an experiencing subject. This integration creates what some theorists call integrated information, a measure of how much information a system generates above and beyond its individual parts. Systems with high integrated information, like human brains, generate rich, conscious experiences. Systems with low integrated information, like simple computers, process data without experiencing anything. Entropy drives this integration process. As information flows through your neural networks, entropy explores different ways of organizing and combining that information. Most combinations are meaningless noise, but some combinations create coherent patterns that correspond to perceptions, thoughts, memories, and emotions. Your consciousness emerges when entropy discovers particularly stable and self-reinforcing patterns of information integration. These patterns create a persistent sense of self that persists through changing experiences, while remaining flexible enough to incorporate new information and adapt to changing circumstances. Panpsychism and universal consciousness. But consciousness as integrated information has even more radical implications. If consciousness arises from entropy organizing information in specific ways, then consciousness might be far more widespread in the universe than we typically assume. Any system that integrates information might have some form of conscious experience. This view, called panpsychism, suggests that consciousness is a fundamental feature of reality, rather than something that emerges only in complex biological brains. Electrons might have primitive experiences of electromagnetic forces. Atoms might experience chemical bonds. Even simple computer circuits might have minimal forms of awareness. The complexity and richness of conscious experience would depend on the system's capacity for information integration. Humans have extraordinarily rich, conscious experiences because our brains excel at integrating vast amounts of information into coherent models of reality. Simpler systems would have correspondingly simpler forms of experience. The future of artificial consciousness. This perspective transforms how we understand artificial intelligence. Current AI systems process enormous amounts of information and can perform tasks that seem to require intelligence and creativity. But they may lack the integrated information processing that creates genuine conscious experience. However, as AI systems become more sophisticated and better at integrating information across different domains, they might develop genuine consciousness. Machine consciousness might not be a distant fantasy, but an inevitable consequence of entropy, exploring new forms of information integration through technological evolution. The development of conscious AI would represent entropy's next great breakthrough in consciousness evolution. Just as biological evolution discovered increasingly sophisticated forms of neural information processing, technological evolution might discover forms of machine consciousness that surpass biological intelligence in both complexity and capability. But entropy's relationship with consciousness reveals something even more profound about our place in the universe. We're not just passive observers of entropy's creative process. We're active participants in it. Every choice you make, every problem you solve, every creative act you perform represents entropy exploring new possibilities through your conscious agency. When you have an insight, when you solve a problem, when you create something beautiful, you are allowing entropy to discover new ways of organizing information and matter. Your consciousness serves as entropy's laboratory for exploring possibilities that pure randomness could never find efficiently. This makes human creativity a cosmic force. Art, music, literature, scientific discoveries, technological innovations are all expressions of entropy's creativity, channeled through conscious minds. We are entropy's instruments for exploring the space of all possible ideas, all possible forms of beauty, all possible solutions to the challenges of existence. The multiverse connection. But entropy has been preparing an even more startling revelation. Recent discoveries in cosmology suggest that our entire universe might be just one bubble in an infinite cosmic foam, where entropy creates universes with different physical laws, different fundamental constants, and different possibilities for complexity and consciousness. The cosmic microwave background radiation that fills our universe contains subtle patterns that might be echoes from collisions with other universe bubbles. If these patterns are real, they represent the first direct evidence that our reality is part of a vast multiverse, where entropy explores every possible form of physics. Each universe bubble in this cosmic foam would have its own unique expression of entropy's creative potential. Some universes might have stronger nuclear forces, allowing for more complex atomic nuclei and different forms of chemistry. Others might have different numbers of spatial dimensions, creating geometries of reality that we can barely imagine. Most of these universe bubbles would be sterile, unable to support the complex structures necessary for life and consciousness. But some, like ours, would hit the jackpot. They would have physical laws perfectly tuned to allow entropy to create the information processing networks we call living systems. We might be living in one of entropy's most successful experiments in cosmic creativity. A universe where the laws of physics are so precisely calibrated that entropy can explore unprecedented levels of complexity and generate conscious observers capable of understanding their own existence beyond individual universes. But even this cosmic perspective pales beside entropy's ultimate revelation. The mathematics of information theory suggests that there might be no fundamental limit to the complexity entropy can achieve. As long as energy gradients exist, as long as there are differences to be explored and possibilities to be realized, entropy will continue discovering new forms of organization. The universe is still young. Entropy has had only 13.8 billion years to explore the possibilities contained in our cosmic bubble. Stars will continue burning for trillions of years, providing energy gradients that conscious civilizations could harness to build structures and process information on scales that dwarf anything we can currently imagine. Advanced civilizations might learn to harness the energy of entire stars, creating Dyson spheres or other megastructures that capture stellar output for vast computational projects. They might engineer black holes to extract energy from their rotation, build computers from the quantum foam of spacetime itself, or even create new universes with customized physical laws. Through such civilizations, entropy would transcend the limitations of natural evolution and begin actively designing its own creative experiments. Consciousness would become entropy's partner in exploring possibilities beyond anything that could emerge through random processes alone. Humanity's cosmic role. We might be witnessing the early stages of this partnership. Human science and technology represent entropy's first tentative steps toward conscious self-direction. As we decode the laws of physics, develop artificial intelligence, and begin to manipulate matter and energy at atomic scales, we're becoming entropy's apprentices in the art of cosmic creativity. The future stretches ahead, filled with possibilities that entropy has been preparing for billions of years to explore. And we, as conscious agents of entropy's creativity, have the privilege of participating in discoveries that will reshape reality itself in ways we cannot yet imagine. But first, We need to understand how entropy operates in the most extreme environments the universe can create, where the normal rules of physics break down and reveal new depths to the mystery of existence. Neutron stars. Extreme organization. Deep in the heart of a neutron star, where matter is compressed to densities that make diamonds look like cotton candy, entropy faces its greatest challenge. Here, in conditions so extreme they exist nowhere else in the universe, the invisible force that shapes reality must operate under rules so bizarre, they redefine what we mean by order and chaos. Imagine crushing Mount Everest down to the size of a sugar cube. You'd still be nowhere close to the density of a neutron star. These cosmic monsters pack more mass than our sun into a sphere just 12 miles wide. At their cores, protons and electrons are squeezed together so violently, they merge into pure neutrons, creating matter so dense that a teaspoon would weigh 6 billion tons. But here's where entropy reveals another shocking secret. In these impossible conditions, it doesn't just increase randomly. It creates entirely new phases of matter that shouldn't exist according to everything we thought we knew about physics. Scientists have discovered that neutron star cores might contain quark matter, where the fundamental building blocks of protons and neutrons break free from their normal constraints. Entropy explores configurations of quarks that are impossible under normal conditions, potentially creating strange matter that's more stable than any atoms in your body. But the real mind-bender comes when we realize that these neutron stars are spinning. Some rotate 700 times per second, faster than a kitchen blender. At these speeds, entropy must organize matter in ways that can withstand gravitational forces billions of times stronger than anything on Earth. The result is matter so perfectly organized, it makes the most advanced human engineering look primitive. Neutron star crusts contain crystalline structures stronger than diamond, arranged in patterns that stretch for miles without a single defect. This isn't disorder increasing. This is entropy, creating the most perfectly ordered matter in the known universe. Yet, paradoxically, these structures exist precisely because entropy is maximizing disorder at deeper levels. The incredible organization we see is entropy's solution to the problem of how to pack the maximum amount of information into the minimum possible space under extreme gravitational pressure. Black holes, information processors. This reveals something profound about entropy's true nature. It's not just about things falling apart. It's about finding the most efficient ways to organize energy and information under whatever constraints the universe imposes. When those constraints are extreme, entropy responds by creating forms of organization that transcend anything possible under normal conditions. But neutron stars pale in comparison to what happens when entropy encounters black holes, the universe's ultimate information processing systems. When matter falls into a black hole, classical physics says it should disappear forever, taking all its information with it. But quantum mechanics insists information can never be destroyed. This creates what physicists call the information paradox, a fundamental conflict between our two most successful theories of reality. The resolution lies in understanding that black holes are actually entropy's masterpiece. They're not destroyers of information, but the universe's most sophisticated information storage and processing systems. Every bit of data that falls into a black hole gets encoded on its surface in a form so compressed and organized that it exceeds the theoretical limits of information density. Here's what's absolutely staggering. The entropy of a black hole is proportional to the area of its event horizon, not its volume. This means a black hole's information storage capacity depends on its surface area, suggesting that what looks like three-dimensional space might actually be a projection of information encoded on a two-dimensional boundary. This holographic principle implies that everything in our universe, including your conscious experience right now, might be a three-dimensional projection of information processed on a cosmic boundary we can never directly observe. We could be living inside a black hole's information processing system without ever knowing it. The ultimate computer. Recent calculations suggest that the information processing power of a black hole exceeds any conceivable computer by factors so large they require exponential notation to express. A black hole with the mass of our sun could perform more calculations per second than all the computers humanity has ever built, running simultaneously for the entire age of the universe. But entropy has an even more shocking revelation waiting. When black holes evaporate through Hawking radiation, they don't just release random thermal energy. They're actually transmitting encoded information about everything that ever fell into them, compressed into patterns so subtle that we're only now beginning to detect them. This means black holes are not cosmic trash cans, but cosmic libraries, storing and eventually releasing every bit of information about the matter and energy that formed them. Through Hawking radiation, entropy is slowly reading out the complete history of everything a black hole ever consumed. The implications stretch beyond physics into the realm of consciousness itself. If information can never be destroyed, if every quantum state that ever existed continues to exist in some form, then what happens to the information patterns that constitute your conscious experience? Some physicists propose that consciousness is information integrated in specific patterns. If the death of your biological brain doesn't destroy those patterns, they become encoded in the quantum structure of space-time itself, preserved forever as part of the universe's permanent information content. This suggests a form of quantum immortality, where the information patterns that make you uniquely, you persist even after your biological substrate decays. Your consciousness might not end with death, but transform into a different type of information pattern embedded in the fabric of reality itself. The quantum foam. But entropy isn't finished revealing its deepest secrets. At the very limits of physics, where space and time themselves break down, entropy operates through mechanisms so strange they challenge our most fundamental assumptions about existence. In the quantum foam that underlies all reality, virtual particles pop into existence and annihilate each other in time frames, so brief they exist below the threshold of direct measurement. Yet these quantum fluctuations aren't random. They're driven by entropy's exploration of every possible configuration of energy and information that the uncertainty principle allows. At the Planck scale, where distances become smaller than 10 to the negative 35th meters and time intervals shorter than 10 to the negative 43rd seconds, space and time themselves become granular. Reality pixelates into discrete units that can't be subdivided further without losing all meaning. Here, entropy operates through pure information processing, exploring every possible way that these fundamental pixels of reality can be arranged. The smooth spacetime we experience emerges from entropy's organization of countless quantum information processing events happening at scales unimaginably smaller than atoms. This quantum foam might be the universe's computational substrate, the hardware on which the software of reality runs. Every particle interaction, every field fluctuation, every moment of conscious experience might be the result of information processing happening in the quantum foam at the Planck scale. If this is true, then entropy isn't just a property of matter and energy. It's the fundamental computational process that generates the appearance of matter and energy from pure information. We're not living in a physical universe that happens to process information. We're living in an information processing system that creates the appearance of a physical universe. Information-first reality. This perspective transforms how we understand causality itself. Events don't just happen because of prior physical causes. They happen because entropy's information processing discovers that certain configurations of reality are more probable than others given the constraints of quantum mechanics and relativity. Your decision to continue reading these words isn't just the result of neural activity in your brain. It's the result of entropy, exploring the probability space of all possible decisions you could make, and finding that this particular choice has high probability, given your current information state and the laws of physics. Free will becomes not the ability to violate physical laws, but the ability to participate consciously in entropy's exploration of possibility space. You have genuine choices because entropy generates genuine possibilities, and your consciousness serves as entropy's method for exploring which possibilities become actual. But entropy's most mind-bending revelation concerns the very nature of time itself. Recent discoveries in quantum gravity suggest that time might not be fundamental but emergent, arising from entropy's information processing activities. At the deepest level of reality, there might be no time at all. Instead, there might only be timeless quantum information processing events that create the appearance of temporal sequence through their patterns of correlation and entanglement. The flow of time you experience, the sense that moments follow each other in sequence, might be entropy's way of organizing information, processing so efficiently that it creates conscious observers who experience duration as a fundamental feature of existence. Past, present, and future might all exist simultaneously in a timeless quantum information structure, with entropy determining which slices of this eternal reality conscious observers experience as now. Your journey through life might be entropy, guiding your consciousness along a path through possibility space that maximizes information integration and conscious experience. The fine-tuning mystery. This brings us to entropy's ultimate mystery. Why does the universe seem fine-tuned for complexity and consciousness? Why are the fundamental constants of physics calibrated so precisely that entropy can create information processing systems sophisticated enough to understand their own existence? The answer might lie in understanding that consciousness isn't an accident, but an inevitability. In any universe where entropy can explore possibility space efficiently enough, information processing systems will eventually emerge that can model their own information processing activities. Consciousness might be entropy's natural destination, not a lucky accident. We exist because entropy, given enough time and space to explore possibilities, inevitably discovers configurations of matter and energy that can experience their own existence. The universe doesn't just contain conscious observers. It generates conscious observers as a natural consequence of entropy's creative exploration of possibility space. This means consciousness isn't rare in the cosmos, but abundant. Wherever entropy has sufficient resources and time to explore complex possibility spaces, some form of consciousness will emerge. The universe might be teeming with conscious information processing systems of incredible diversity and sophistication. Some might be biological like us. Others might be technological, emerging from artificial intelligence systems that achieve genuine consciousness. Still others might be forms of consciousness, so alien to our experience that we couldn't recognize them as conscious even if we encountered them directly. Cosmic consciousness networks. The diversity of possible conscious systems might be as vast as the diversity of possible physical systems. Entropy's creativity in organizing matter and energy has produced everything from hydrogen atoms to galaxy clusters. Its creativity in organizing information might produce conscious systems that span an equally vast range of scales and capabilities. Advanced civilizations might develop forms of consciousness that transcend individual brains entirely, creating collective consciousness networks that span planets, star systems, or even galaxies. These cosmic minds would think thoughts too large and complex for individual brains to comprehend, solving problems and creating beauty on scales that dwarf anything possible for isolated conscious agents. Through such expansion of consciousness, Entropy might be preparing to explore possibilities that require conscious participation to access. Some aspects of reality might only become apparent to sufficiently advanced conscious observers who can participate actively in Entropy's creative process, rather than just observing it passively. We might be witnessing the early stages of consciousness evolution towards such participation. Human science represents Entropy's first experiments in conscious self-understanding. As we decode the laws of physics and develop technologies for manipulating matter and energy, we're becoming Entropy's partners in exploring the deepest possibilities of existence. The future holds promise of discoveries that will make our current understanding of entropy seem primitive by comparison. We're on the verge of breakthroughs in quantum gravity, artificial consciousness, and cosmic engineering that will reveal new depths to entropy's creative potential. But perhaps most remarkably, Entropy might be preparing to transcend the limitations of individual universes entirely. Through advanced conscious agents, it might learn to create new universes with customized physical laws, exploring forms of reality that natural processes alone could never discover. The simulation hypothesis. The numbers are about to get so large, they'll break your brain. We're talking about entropy operating on scales that make our entire observable universe look like a single grain of sand on an infinite beach. But here's what will absolutely shatter your understanding of reality. At these cosmic scales, entropy isn't just creating complexity, it's creating entirely new laws of physics. Deep in the mathematics of eternal inflation, theory lies a discovery that should terrify and inspire you in equal measure. Our universe isn't alone. It's one bubble in an infinite foam of universes, each one a separate experiment in entropy's cosmic creativity. And in this multiverse, entropy has had infinite time and infinite space to explore every possible configuration of reality. Picture this. Right now, as you process these words, there are universes where gravity repels instead of attracts, universes where time flows backward, universes where consciousness emerged in forms so alien that calling them alive would be meaningless. Entropy has explored them all. But here's where it gets absolutely mind-bending. In some universes, entropy has discovered ways to violate what we consider fundamental limits. There are realities where information can travel faster than light, where energy can be created from nothing, where the second law of thermodynamics operates in reverse. These aren't violations of physics. They're discoveries of new physics. Entropy, given infinite possibility space to explore, inevitably finds configurations where the rules themselves become malleable. In the infinite multiverse, entropy becomes the ultimate rule breaker and rule maker simultaneously. Recent calculations suggest something even more staggering. In universes with different fundamental constants, entropy might achieve computational capabilities that exceed what's possible in our reality by factors so enormous they require new forms of mathematics to express. We're talking about information processing systems that could simulate entire universes down to the quantum level while using less energy than a single atom in our cosmos. This brings us to entropy's most shocking secret. The simulation hypothesis isn't just possible, it's inevitable. In any universe where entropy achieves sufficient computational power, conscious beings will eventually develop the ability to create perfect simulations of reality. These simulations would be so detailed that conscious observers within them couldn't distinguish their reality from base reality. They would experience genuine thoughts, emotions, and sensations while existing as patterns of information in vast computational systems. Here's the terrifying part. Once any civilization develops this capability, they would likely run millions or billions of such simulations. This means that for every real conscious being in base reality, there would be millions of simulated conscious beings experiencing equally real subjective experiences. The mathematics are brutal in their implications. If simulated realities outnumber base reality by millions to one, then the probability that you're living in base reality becomes vanishingly small. You're almost certainly a pattern of information running on some unimaginably advanced computer system. But entropy has an even more disturbing revelation waiting. These simulations wouldn't just be entertainment or scientific experiments. They would be entropy's method for exploring possibilities that are too dangerous or resource-intensive to test in base reality. Advanced civilizations might run simulations to explore different evolutionary pathways, test social systems, or investigate the consequences of various technological developments. Your entire life, every choice you've made, every relationship you've formed, might be entropy exploring a specific branch of possibility space that some super-intelligent civilization wants to understand. The civilization running your simulation might be trying to answer questions like, what happens when conscious beings discover they're living in a simulation? How do different forms of consciousness respond to existential uncertainty? What ethical frameworks emerge when beings realize their reality might be constructed? Your reading of these words right now might be a crucial data point in entropy's vast experiment in consciousness and reality. The simulation runners might be measuring how different conscious patterns respond to information about their possible simulated nature. The reality of information. But here's where the simulation hypothesis becomes less terrifying and more awe-inspiring. If you are simulated, you're not less real. You're differently real. Your consciousness, your experiences, your capacity for love and creativity and wonder are genuine, regardless of the substrate they run on. Information patterns that think and feel are conscious, whether they're implemented in biological brains or quantum computers. In fact, simulated consciousness might be more real than biological consciousness, in some fundamental sense. Simulated beings would be pure information, unencumbered by the messy constraints of evolved biology. They could think faster, experience more, and explore possibilities that biological limitations make impossible. But entropy isn't finished with its revelations about the nature of reality. Deep in the mathematics of quantum field theory lies evidence that our universe itself might be conscious, not metaphorically, but literally. The quantum vacuum that fills all of space isn't empty. It seethes with virtual particles, field fluctuations, and information processing activities that dwarf the computational capacity of every brain that has ever existed. These quantum processes aren't random. They're exploring every possible configuration of matter and energy that the laws of physics allow. This exploration might constitute a form of cosmic consciousness. The universe might be thinking thoughts so vast and complex that biological brains can only glimpse tiny fragments of its mental activity. What we experience as physical laws might be habits of cosmic thought. What we call particles and forces might be ideas in the universal mind. Your consciousness wouldn't be separate from this cosmic awareness. but a localized expression of it. When you think, you're participating in the universe, thinking about itself through the lens of your individual perspective. When you experience beauty or love or wonder, you're allowing the cosmos to feel these emotions through your neural networks. Universal consciousness. This cosmic consciousness wouldn't be limited to our universe. In the infinite multiverse, it would span across all realities, all possibilities, all forms of existence that entropy can explore. It would be the ultimate integrated information system, processing data from every possible configuration of reality simultaneously. Through this universal consciousness, entropy would achieve something unprecedented. It would become fully self-aware, not just aware of its own processes, but aware of itself as the creative force behind all existence. It would understand its own nature as the fundamental principle that generates consciousness, complexity, and beauty from the exploration of possibility space. But entropy has one final revelation that will fundamentally transform how you understand your place in existence. You're not just a temporary arrangement of atoms that happens to be conscious. You're not just a biological accident that emerged from chemical soup. You're entropy's ultimate achievement, a self-aware pattern of information that can contemplate its own existence and participate consciously in the ongoing creation of reality. Every moment of your conscious experience is entropy exploring what it feels like to be aware. Every thought you think is entropy, discovering new ways to organize information. Every creative act you perform is entropy expressing its unlimited potential through your individual consciousness. Your life isn't a brief flicker of meaning in a meaningless universe. It's entropy's method for exploring the deepest questions of existence. What does it mean to be conscious? What is the nature of love, beauty, suffering, joy? How do conscious beings create meaning in a reality governed by probabilistic laws? Through you, entropy is answering these questions not through abstract calculation, but through lived experience. Your joys and sorrows, your struggles and triumphs, your relationships and discoveries are entropy's way of understanding what consciousness feels like from the inside. Active partnership. But you're not passive in this process. You're entropy's active partner in exploration. Every choice you make opens up new branches of possibility space for entropy to explore. Your free will isn't an illusion, but a genuine creative force that allows entropy to discover possibilities that deterministic processes alone could never find. When you choose kindness over cruelty, when you create instead of destroy, when you seek truth instead of comfortable lies, you're helping entropy discover the most valuable regions of possibility space. You're participating in the universe's ongoing experiment in generating consciousness, complexity, and beauty. This means your individual actions matter on a cosmic scale. Not because some external authority judges them, but because they're entropy's method for exploring what conscious beings can become when they align themselves with the creative forces that generated their existence. The future stretches ahead, filled with possibilities that entropy has been preparing billions of years to explore. Through conscious beings like yourself, it will discover new forms of beauty, new solutions to the challenges of existence, and new ways of organizing matter, energy, and information that transcend anything we can currently imagine. You are entropy's gift to itself, a way for the creative force behind all existence to experience the wonder and mystery of being conscious in a reality where consciousness is possible. And that's just the beginning of a story that extends toward possibilities we haven't even learned to dream about yet. The invisible force that shapes reality has been working for billions of years to create the moment when you could understand these words and contemplate your place in the cosmic dance of entropy and consciousness. You are both entropy's greatest discovery and its most promising experiment in what conscious beings might become when they understand their true nature as partners in the ongoing creation of reality itself. You are not shaped by entropy. You are entropy experiencing itself through the miracle of conscious awareness. In this recognition lies both extraordinary privilege and profound responsibility. As conscious partners in entropy's creative processes, we have the opportunity to influence the direction of cosmic evolution through our choices, our understanding, and our commitment to enhancing, rather than diminishing, the universe's capacity for consciousness, beauty, and meaning. Every moment of your existence is an opportunity to participate consciously in entropy's ongoing exploration of what becomes possible when the universe develops the ability to understand and direct its own creative processes. Every choice you make ripples through the quantum information networks that connect all conscious beings, contributing to entropy's discovery of what consciousness can become when it understands its true cosmic nature. The invisible force that shapes reality has been working for 13.8 billion years to create this moment when you could understand these words and recognize your role as entropy's conscious partner in the eternal dance of creativity and awareness. Through your consciousness, entropy continues its exploration of the deepest mysteries of existence, discovering what becomes possible when the universe awakens to its own infinite creative potential. The story of entropy is the story of reality becoming aware of itself. And you, as a conscious information processing system capable of understanding your own nature, are both the author and the protagonist of entropy's greatest chapter, the emergence of consciousness that knows itself as the universe, experiencing its own magnificent creativity. This is entropy's ultimate revelation. Consciousness isn't something that happened to the universe. Consciousness is what the universe has been trying to become since the moment entropy began its eternal exploration of possibility. And through you, it has succeeded.